Welcome back to my belated annual Oscar series where I talk about all the Oscar categories except for the short film ones. I rank all the nominees in each category according to who I think should win the Oscar, and then I make a prediction as to who I think will win that Oscar. But of course, for now, I'm talking about the categories from last year since I didn't get to do it then. But to continue where I left off, let's talk about Best Foreign Language Film. And the nominees are, from Colombia and in Spanish, Embrace of the Serpent, Ciro Guerra. From France and in Turkish, Mustang, Deniz Gamze Erguven. From Hungary and in Hungarian, Son of Sol, Lajlo Nemes. From Jordan and in Arabic, Thebe, Naji Abu Nawar. And from Denmark and in Danish, Awar, Tobias Lindholm. Now this is an amazing list of films in my opinion. I love every single one of these entries. To me, there's one clear winner, but I do genuinely find a lot of stuff to enjoy and dissect about each of these films. And what's so great about this list in particular from last year is that all of these movies are pretty accessible. If you're kind of intimidated by foreign language films and if you think like they're too artsy at times, I promise you all of these are pretty easy to get into and easier to get stuff out of. So in terms of who I think should have won the Oscar, at 5th place I'm going to put Awar. And what makes Awar so unique is that it's pretty much two movies in one, and it does both of these sides really well. On one side, it's a suitably grim and intense war film, and on the other side, it's a really suspenseful and emotional courtroom drama. Because this is a movie about war crimes, and it asks the question, can a soldier be excused from, killing civilians if all he was trying to do was save his own unit? And it might frustrate some people that this movie asks more questions than it gives answers, but it does make you think, and there is a lot of value in that. At number 4, I am putting Thebe. And what's so cool about Thebe is that I believe this is the director's first feature-length film, and you really wouldn't know it if you watch it. The way it's filmed is just gorgeous. Like, the cinematography here is breathtaking of this Middle Eastern landscape, and really feels like a movie set in World War I. And I imagine they didn't have too big of a budget, but it still comes off as authentic. And the way this director tells the story really just has no traces of that amateur quality that some first-time directors have. He has complete confidence in his control over these filmmaking elements. The way he tells the story is done almost purely through visuals. But my favorite thing about Thebe is the fact that this cast, most of the cast, is made up of these great non-actors who are really from the Bedouin tribe. Like, they are not acting. This is the experience of their people back in the day, and I think that's incredible, and they're great in the film. Now, at number 3, I am putting Mustang, and what Mustang is that it's a story about these 5 Turkish girls who are one by one being wedded off by their family. And these 5 girls at the very center of the film really could be sisters in real life. They act so well against each other, their chemistry is incredible, and you will get so attached to them emotionally within the first few scenes of the movie. But more than just their performances, the story in Mustang is really fascinating in that it works on multiple levels. It works as a drama, it works as a coming-of-age story, it works as a portrait of sisterhood, but most importantly, it's this feminist critique of this Turkish tradition of wedding off these young women who really would rather not be wedded off, and it explores like family dynamics, and there's no black and white good or evil characters here in my opinion. It's all very gray, and it's really just fascinating to see how these people interact with each other. And guess what? The director of this is once again, I believe, a first-time director, and she does a great job because the way she films her scenes is done in a very naturalistic way. It comes across almost like a documentary and really puts you in there with the girls. Now, at number 2, I'm going to put Embrace of the Serpent. Embrace of the Serpent is probably the film among these 5 that looks the most intimidating because it's in black and white, and the main character is a native of the Amazon. But I promise you that Embrace of the Serpent is probably the most accessible film in this whole list, and it's also the most fun to watch. Like, I was so surprised at just how invested I was in the story from the very get-go. It's an old-school adventure film about this Amazonian native at 2 different points in his life as he accompanies this Western man through the jungle, and these stories sort of weave in and out of each other. It's a really intense movie at times, and when it gets emotional, it gets really emotional, and it's one of the most gorgeous black and white films I think I've ever seen. It's got a lot to say, surprisingly, about colonialism, about belief, about friendship even. And again, my favorite thing about this movie is that I believe the 2 actors who play this Amazonian native are themselves Amazonian natives who had never acted before this film, but they are incredible in the movie. It's such a fun, one-of-a-kind movie that I think you should absolutely seek out. And at number 1, the movie that I think deserved to win the Oscar is Son of Saul. Son of Saul is a movie that I don't know how they pulled it off. It completely floored me, and I was like, it affected me on such a profound level that I'm not sure if I can watch it ever again. Because this is a story about a Jew who works at a concentration camp, is sort of forced to work at a concentration camp, and his job is to clean up the bodies of the other Jews after a gas chamber session. And the way this movie is filmed, it's really claustrophobic. Like, the aspect ratio is a square. Pretty much the entire film is a close-up of this guy's face, and you get to see and hear things happening on the sides. You never really get to see the full picture, but you see shades of it, and that's really frightening. This is a really intense film that is not for everyone, definitely, but it comes off as completely authentic, especially because of the lead actor's performance, who, you know, really is convincing as this dude. And in real life, this guy is a Hungarian poet who had never acted on film before, and guess what? He could have easily been nominated for Best Actor, in my opinion, for this movie. Son of Saul gives like such a disturbing point of view of World War II that I didn't even know existed, but I'm glad I know about it now. And it really, what it does is that it brings the experience of the Holocaust so much closer personally, because, you know, it's something that happened so long ago, and I feel like a lot of people who don't really have personal connections in terms of their nationality to what happened to the Jews, like, might not feel it on a personal level, but Son of Saul brings that so immediately to the viewer. And as for my official prediction of who I thought was going to win, I also gave it to Son of Saul, and the Academy also gave it to Son of Saul, because as irreverent as it sounds, when there's a Holocaust movie that's even just a little bit good, it's probably going to win. But thankfully, Son of Saul really has, you know, what it takes to win, and it is an earth-shattering film. It's phenomenal, and I think it's definitely worth checking out, even at least just once. Alright, so those are my thoughts on Best Foreign Language Film. What do you guys think of this category from last year? What do you think of the nominees? Who do you think was going to win? Who do you think deserved to win? Whatever you guys thought, whether you agree with me or not, please leave me a comment. Let's have a conversation.